And you can't blame someone trying to follow the money and wanting to be successful. Well, hey there. Welcome back. I'm a square. I am. And let me tell you the amazing story, the amazing, daunting, frustrating story of being a square. I'm not referring to being a nerd and not being hip and trendy. I'm talking about something else. And I'm putting it in a context that makes it really easy to understand. So let's talk about the amazing universe of squares and triangles. As a square, I create things that apply to both squares and triangles. Even though I have the perspective of a square, I don't create my stuff from that perspective, at least intentionally. I am self-aware enough to know that I do have experiences that are more square-like, but for the most part, we're all just shapes. So my stuff is for shapes. As of about a decade ago, and it's gotten worse year after year after year, I noticed that more and more triangles only make things for triangles. They specifically talk about triangle-owned businesses and conferences for triangles, and that they only help triangles to be better business owners, to be better marketers, and so forth. They position themselves as if the triangles are having difficulty and they are helping the triangles because of this difficulty. When consequently, there are no square specific industries or businesses that only help squares. Because for the most part, squares tend to help all shapes. And this is what happens. You are a square and you're trying to market your business, service, or widgets to all shapes. You find that your competition, the triangles, not only market specifically to the triangles, but that the triangles typically accept that marketing and tend to only buy from the triangles. Therefore, half of your market is already gone. Now, because the squares tend to not care and they purchase from anyone, that means half of them tend to buy from triangles as well. So there goes 3/4 of the audience. To compound things, when a new triangle says, hey, I'm going to do a thing, the vast majority of triangles that they know rally behind them and promote them, thus giving them a huge leg up when it comes to marketing over what a square can do. Because the triangles are motivated not by the product, but by the fact that the person selling the product is a triangle, while the squares are only motivated by the quality of the square's product and perhaps the square itself. Now, this does not go unnoticed by rather large companies, because the purpose of a large company is the bottom line. And they know that triangles sell to triangles and triangles gather with triangles. So a number of large companies have marketing methodology that applies specifically to triangles and gets triangles to gather with other triangles and literally use the triangles' friendships and personal connections to sell a product. The triangles buy from the other triangles in this particular methodology, not because they believe in the product, but because of a personal connection and sometimes even guilt. Well, I invited those triangles to my gathering for my product I'm selling. I guess I have to go to theirs and buy some stuff. This is not the mentality of the squares, who typically just want to buy things that are good. So as you can see, the entire system, which is something I love to see and discover, is set up so that it makes it extremely difficult for a square, especially a new square, to have any success. Let me take a moment here to say that I'm not demonizing the triangles. I believe the vast majority of triangles are just trying to do a good job, sell a good product, and perform a good service. Everyone in marketing tells people to niche down. They say, find your ideal client and market to those people. Well, when squares say, well, yeah, I could probably buy your product, but triangles line up in droves to buy the products of triangles, that becomes their niche. When a triangle is convinced that it typically applies to other triangles because there's just something different that only a triangle would understand about a triangle, they tend to go into that niche as well. And you can't blame someone trying to follow the money and wanting to be successful. The more a triangle pushes into the space of triangles, the more successful they're going to be, regardless of their product. So what do we do? As you know, my podcasts are set up to first raise awareness of something that you may not know, and then to solve, understand, cope, etc. Well, in this case, I'm going to ask you. So for the first time in an episode, instead of giving you the answer and say, this is what I've done, I'm going to ask you, what would you do? And you can ask yourself, are you a triangle or a square? This may clarify or perhaps make this harder to understand, but you might be a triangle and just not take the actions of a triangle. You may be a triangle and you just behave like a square. So if you are a triangle and you do like to support other triangles, but you don't change your buying habits specifically to buy from triangles and you buy from squares, or you buy from all shapes, then you're not part of the issue, but at least now you're aware of it. And I value your input just as much. This episode is literally going to be half the size of my normal episodes because there is no solution, which is why I'm turning to you. Thank you, and I look forward to your response.
Living life every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Yeah.
Join the community, patreon.com/alchemy for life. Oh, and my 10th book is now coming out.
Every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days.